Aloha. Welcome to M3 Power Collabs with Mike Dillard coming to you live and direct from Honolulu, Hawaii. Today, we have Robert Berry. For some reason, he's here with me, but for some reason, his screen is frozen. Rob, can you hear me?
Yeah, man, I can hear you. I can see you.
You can see me. Aloha. Welcome to M3.
And it looks like I'm actually moving on the LinkedIn, man. It may just be frozen on your end. I'm looking on LinkedIn and I am moving.
You're moving? Well, then, you know what? That's what's up. That's all we need. Okay, so listen, so we're going to do something a little bit different today. So I actually have two people that's scheduled to be on here because there's a potential, there's a particular issue that I wanted to highlight that was brought to my attention. I'm not sure. Maybe my other guest, I mean, she's a medical doctor. You know, doctors have emergencies all the time. So she's not here yet. She might pop in a little bit later in the show, but, you know, we're going to go ahead and get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to deviate a little bit here, Rob. I'm going to get to you in a hot second. We're going to deviate a little bit from the norm. Y'all know we always talk about the struggle, right? The success and then the strategy, right? I mean, that's what M3 Power Collapse is all about. But today, since we're going to talk about a particular subject, we're not really going to go into that per se, but I am going to have Rob back on at another time. And we are going to get into all of that stuff. But so Rob is actually a specialist. Rob specializes in audits, right? Rob, why don't you give us a quick breakdown on who you are and what you do so they understand? Because I know when I say audits, that's a very broad topic, a very broad category.
Yeah, man. So I like to keep it simple. Here's what I do now, currently. I help people communicate better through questions. That's what I do. Because I spent most of my career as an auditor and all you had to do was ask people a whole bunch of questions, but there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it, right? There's a way to do it to get what it is that you need to get your job done. So right now I'm a coach, a speaker, and a trainer. And my whole thing is I train people how to get the information that they need by asking better questions. So that's what I do now.
I love that. I love that. You know what's so funny is I saw something recently. Oh, you know, I'm in this it's like this government contracting cohort class. It's called VIP Start, right? But I remember there's this one guy, I mean, his firm, he just has millions and millions and millions of dollars. This guy's like a very successful guy in what he does, but he helps these government contracting companies basically put a spin on what they do so that people are going to be interested in what they do. And matter of fact, his example was a medical auditor. And I guess, you know, people thought she had this kind of gruff personality. Plus, when it's a medical auditor, like no one wanted to talk to her, right? So she went to this guy for help and he was like, well, of course they don't want to talk to you, right? You're a medical auditor, right? People can go to jail if they screw stuff up, right? So he flipped it around and hers was something like, it was also something with communication. She helps people communicate better and be happy, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And once she changed that name, like everybody started liking her. Like, I mean, they started coming to her, right? So I mean, I love that tagline. It makes a lot of sense. Okay,
Look,
so
man,
go ahead.
I was about to say, if you want a long career doing what I do, you better know how to get along with people. You better know how to relate to people, and you better know how to talk to people.
Yeah, really though. Now, y'all don't know. Rob is actually my boy from LinkedIn. We've never met physically, but this is one of my boys here. So I love this guy. Rob is hecka smart and he's very funny. He does ask great questions and he's a very business-minded, entrepreneurial individual. So I'm real glad to have you on the show, Rob. So we're gonna like we said,
look, y'all. He tells you that we hadn't met yet, but what he doesn't know is I'm moving in. I'm coming to Hawaii. I'm going to the big house and moving into the big house. That's what we do.
Oh, yeah. That's what's up. I told you I got rooms. I got plenty of rooms in this big house over actually. So on the real, when you do come out, let me know. Yeah, you can stay here with me. That's no doubt.
I told you,
which
man,
I don't offer to everybody, by the way, but I am gonna make that offer to you. So when you take me up on it, I really will follow through on that.
I'll see you next week.
Okay, so hey, so let's jump into this right here. Okay, so I'm gonna shift to this screen. I mean, yeah, she's apparently not gonna be able to make it for whatever reason. But I still wanted to discuss this. I got you on. I mean, you're an audit specialist, right? So it's important that we look at this, right? So this came to my attention here in this medical journal. The fraudulent conviction of now they spelled her name wrong. It's actually Velasquez, right? With an A instead of I. But anyway, that's her right there, right? That's her right there. And so basically, what happened apparently is that, you know, she had a thriving practice in Saratoga, California for many years. She is a naturalized U.S. citizen, which is neither here nor there, but she is a U.S. citizen. And one day out of the blue, she sees invoices, and I hope I'm doing her story justice. Again, she's not here, so I'm trying to kind of retell it here. But she received these invoices, and from this, I guess, an insurance company, she said, "What is this? Like, I'm not paying this." So she refuted it, and when she refuted it, the insurance company claimed fraud. Now, you know, she fought it as best she could. I guess she had her lawyer was not the best of lawyers, we'll put it like that. Basically, you know, when the lawyers for the big money came in, you know, for the insurance companies, of course, their lawyers was on point, very professional, you know, high-powered, powerful. And her attorney basically was like, yeah, I agree with them. She was like, what? You agree with them? Like, what's going on, right? So anyway, the judge actually convicted her. They convicted her of 63 months for fraud, right? For fraud. She is the wife of an orthopedic surgeon, and they have 3 kids, right? And they both face federal prison time. So here's what's interesting. All right, we are going to get in this to say. So here's what's interesting. As they look through all of the files, all the claims, right? They found that these charges were actually from another doctor's office. It was plainly printed. It's like, this is not even from my office. So, you know, she went back to court and she's like, hey, this stuff is not from my office. So they acknowledged that it wasn't from her office. And then there was even claims where, look, hold on a second. So here's, and she posted this up in this medical journal, right? But these were insurance claims, I imagine, right? But they went all the way back to 1988. And, you know, again, to her argument, she's like, look, I was a teenager in India. I wasn't even a doctor yet. I was a kid. So how could my practice have done all of this stuff in 1988? It's not possible, right? So what ended up happening was, let me go ahead and get back into the studio here and stop sharing the screen. So what ended up happening was the court says, okay, we acknowledge that, yeah, that wasn't you. However, we're not going to throw it out because you should have had that information in the first place. So, you know, they're trying to go back, I think, to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals and you know, try and fight it or whatever. And it's just not cool. But what ended up happening was I don't know if she reached out to the ACLU, you know, American Civil Liberties Union, or they reached out to her, but her legal counsel is the executive director of the ACLU for Nevada. And apparently this sort of thing keeps happening in the area that she's in the San Francisco area. There are multiple cases of this happening to medical doctors, all who just happen to be brown skin. So it would seem like there is something going on in that area. And I wanted to make sure that we highlighted this because that's an injustice. You know, that's not cool. So Rob, what do you have to say about this? I mean, I know you're kind of seeing a little bit of this, and you know, you're an auditor. You're used to really digging in deep and doing the research and whatnot, so you get at the truth. I know you're that audit guy, right? So what can you say about this?
Well, you know, it's hard to say anything without her here to understand what really happened, because when you're a medical doctor, you obviously have patients that you see, and you serve them, and then you bill insurance companies. I mean, that's your primary responsibility, is to see patients, and then you have a billing that occurs. Now, what a lot of doctors' offices do, though, is they try to do the billing themselves, and that's very difficult because there are codes you have to associate with a treatment. So if you had someone come in for a headache, you have to code it and say, hey, they had a headache. This is what I diagnosed them with. And this is what I gave them. Here's the code I'm going to use. And then the insurance company is going to reimburse you based on that code. If you get those codes wrong, you will find yourself in trouble, especially if it's the federal government, if you're dealing with Medicare or Medicaid. So if you incorrectly code things, you will find yourself in trouble with the government. So I don't know if she actually tried to do her own coding or if she hired a third-party company to do it. And that's what most physicians do. They hire a third-party company because that removes some of that liability from them. So,
yeah. Got it. So on something like that, if I'm getting this right, if people, like, for example, people want to do maybe their taxes by themselves. I mean, for many years, I went to like H&R Block. And then at one point I realized, okay, I'm making a bunch more money. I just need to get a CPA, right? So, is it like that where people are trying to do their own taxes per se, and then they don't know which forms to put on it, and then next thing you know, they get audited by the IRS or something like that, right?
It's a similar analogy, but honestly, I think this is more serious. And we all know the IRS is bad, right? You don't want the IRS after you, but medical claims to the federal government, to me, are even worse. Because they'll go back years and they'll look at everything. And if they find that you have a pattern, and that pattern could even be on accident. Because like I said, there are codes associated with whatever treatment that you give. And those codes are updated every year in October. So you could be using a wrong code on accident. That could cost you.
I see. Yeah, and I guess it is more serious because, I mean, the FBI showed up at her practice and raided the place, and again, she actually was sentenced and convicted to over 5 years in prison. So she hasn't served any of that time yet, but it's coming up very soon. And that's why when I read that, I was like, okay, I really want to get the sister on the show and, let's get her story out here. Right. But very interesting. Okay. So these things happen. Have you ever heard of this happening though? Let's say hypothetically, right? What this sister is saying, I mean, this information that she brought forth to the court, and the court did actually say, okay, we recognize this, right? So have you ever heard of this in your field where people are wrongly accused of fraud? I mean, they use the actual totally different information to accuse somebody of fraud. Have you ever heard of that?
Here's what I'll say. That's actually hard to say because, I mean, honestly, I can't even say that she was wrongly accused. You know what I mean? I know what she says, but if I'm being objective in what it is that I do, I can't say that she's wrongly accused. But are medical practitioners convicted of whatever this is? It happens a lot where they're convicted of fraud in their medical billing practices. It happens to hospitals. It happens to independent physician practices. Yeah, it happens. Well, and it happens because there are a lot of physicians who actually try to defraud the Medicare and Medicaid programs and or some of the healthcare providers. I was just reading some stats this morning. Apparently, the total for last year was about $56 billion with a B dollars in fraud, in healthcare fraud. So it happens.
Wow, got it. Okay, and tell us a little bit more about your background as far as auditing, because like I was telling you the other day, I'm like, Rob, you're the man. I mean, I did a little bit of research on it. It's like, whoa, Rob is actually the man in what he does. I mean, you're like top of the food chain here. So shed some light on this, my brother.
Yeah, so my background, I've been a chief auditor for companies for at least the last 15 to 18 or so years. And what that means is I've been responsible for auditing almost anything in an organization. So I was a chief auditor for a university, for a couple of universities. So I would audit any and everything from small things to big things, including NCAA, so athletics, all the way down to something as simple as how they're running their snack machines, all the way back up to something as simple as medical practices. So I was the chief auditor for a university that had hospitals too. So I was in the healthcare industry as well. So, you name it, I could audit it, which also meant sometimes you would do investigations where you would have to work with either local or federal law enforcement agencies, which meant collecting all of the data to determine what was happening so that you could hand it over to the police or some federal agencies. So yeah, this kind of healthcare thing, it happens. And there's a lot of fraud that happens as well. That's why when you ask me, does it happen where people are wrongfully convicted? I can't say that she was wrongfully convicted. I mean, I can't say that. I've not seen any of the evidence, but it does happen where people defraud healthcare, and I'm sure it does happen where people were falsely accused.
Right. I think with the American justice system overall, without trying to go into any nefarious stereotypes or whatnot, it does happen quite frequently in the American justice system where people are wrongly accused and even convicted at times, right? And then after they've served time, it's like, oh, we're sorry. You lost the lives, you lost those years, but we're sorry. So
it definitely happens, and a lot of times it happens because we're running under some antiquated laws right now. I mean, certain things need to change, and then sometimes certain people don't have the money to afford adequate representation. So
yeah, and that's interesting you say that, because when I was looking up her story or just reading on that medical journal, right, that was one of the things that happened with her, right? So apparently she didn't, the amount of money I guess it took to just keep going back to court. I think she said she spent like $500,000 in all, just going back to court. And I guess family and friends in India, they're trying to raise money and help her and whatnot. And so eventually she did get a bet. Well, no, she went to the ACLU. So now she's got a slamming lawyer, right? She's got a very powerful lawyer. But the first lawyer didn't have enough money, huh?
Yeah, I was about to say, oftentimes you run out of money. And it's unfortunate that sometimes the amount of money that you have can equate to the type of legal representation that you receive. And that happens quite often. And I will tell you, with a lot of medical fraud, what ends up happening is, especially when it's a huge company, the government will look at all the information, they'll show it to you and say, this is what we have on you. And then you guys reach a settlement. And the settlement is usually millions of dollars. In lieu of going to court, you just say, okay, look, we'll settle on X number of dollars.
Yeah.
But when you're a small doctor's office or an independent practitioner, I mean, you don't have the money to be settling with anyone.
Nah, that's big bucks right there. Wow. Okay. This is good. So we're gonna jump off of this topic right now, because obviously, like I said, sister's not here, right? She can't really tell a story. Would you be open to coming back when I do get her on?
That's gonna be a maybe for me on that one.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see if our calendars link up. I think it's important for you to tell your story, though.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right. So let's check this out. So, what else is going on in the life of Robert Berry? What you got? Any speaking gigs coming up? I know you have a best-selling book, right? I know you've done speaking engagements. I mean, you do all types of things, right? So,
yeah, man. I've got a lot of stuff coming up. I got a speaking engagement coming up next week.
Okay.
Somewhere. Then I got another one coming up a couple of weeks after that in Vegas. My book is doing well, pretty well on Amazon. I broke the top 50 a few weeks ago, and I was like, whoa, man, how about that? For somebody who self-published a book, right? Not through a traditional publishing house. I thought that was pretty cool. And right now I'm running 3 different podcasts, which one of them I got to have you on. It's called The Corporate Quitters. It's all about, so a lot of people hear that and they think that I'm talking about quitting your job and just starting your own businesses. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about freeing your mind and quitting the limiting beliefs that you believe that are holding you back.
That's dope. I didn't know that's what your show is about. I always see it says Corporate Quitters, and I'm like, man, I got to hit up Rob. I need to be on that show, right? But I didn't know that's what it was about.
So, okay, so think about this now. you're sitting here at a job in your organization. There are multiple levels of quitting. Let's just walk through those. So you're sitting here at a job and you hate your job. But the real problem is not your job. It's probably you, because either you don't have the right skills or maybe you're at the wrong company. So now, and you're probably thinking that you can't do it, that you can't excel, you can't exceed. Right. Well, so first you have to quit the limiting beliefs that you have, start working on yourself. Oftentimes when there's an issue, we want to blame other people and we hadn't even looked at ourselves first. Right.
Oh, wow.
So the first thing you do is you look at yourself. And I find that when people start looking at themselves, what they end up doing is you end up either getting a promotion because now you've worked on yourself, or you switch departments because maybe the people in that department, maybe they were crazy. Maybe it was all of them and maybe it wasn't you. So that's the first level of quitting, is quitting your limiting beliefs. Second level is, well, maybe you do need to switch companies because maybe you're at a bad company. So maybe you need to quit and work for another company. So there you go. There's your second level. Now, the third level is maybe you don't need to work for an organization. Maybe you do need to strike out on your own. But it all starts with you as an individual. Stop blaming everybody else for the problems that you have and look at yourself first. Quit the limiting beliefs that are holding you back. So yeah, a lot of people are like, man, everybody can't be an entrepreneur. Yes, you're correct. But it's not about that. It's about quitting your limiting beliefs that you have first.
I love that. I love that. Let me just put that up on the screen right quick. So quit your limiting beliefs that are holding you back.
That's it, man.
I love that. I love it. You know what? That actually sounds like a TED Talk, man. You ever think about going out for a TED Talk?
Oh man, yeah. Call me Ted. No, I'm just kidding. That was a joke. Look, there are gonna be some people listening to this replay. He doesn't know what Ted is. He thinks Ted's a real person. No, that was a joke.
No, that's good, man. Yeah, you're very enterprising. And your book, congratulations. So your book broke through top 50 on Amazon. That's huge. You think about how many books are on Amazon, right? So what's the title of your book?
So this one, you guys here probably won't be interested in, but this one is all about how to ask questions while you're auditing folks. So it's called Ask Better Questions, Get Better Answers, Perform Better Audits. You want to know something funny about it, man? So it broke top 50 in Amazon, but it hit #1 in France.
That is what?
France? Okay.
It's funny like that. You know, I have a Christian podcast, right? So Fully Submitted with Brother Mike. And that, for some reason, in India, that's always like most popular in its category in India. And I'm like, how India? Like, how is that even? I don't even know, right? So
it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
One of my podcasts is actually doing really well in India. I look at the downloads and I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool.
That is cool. Dude, that would be great if you get flown to like France or somewhere. I mean, you're doing well over there. I mean, it must be opportunities for you, right?
Hey, man, fly me out. Let's go.
Okay, there you have it. You heard that, right? So all you people on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, you're in France. This is the guy you want, right? You want to bring Rob out. He's ready.
We can go have lunch at the Eiffel Tower.
That's right. He will accept your offer if it's not too low. Remember, this is the top selling Amazon author here, so you got to come correct with the offer here. Okay, that's what's up. All right, so let me see. So we got your book, your speaking engagement. I saw you post about that on LinkedIn. When you in a really nice suit, looking real sharp and clean. What's that about?
Oh man, wait, which one? I got a couple of speaking engagements I posted about.
No, I think you said is it in Las Vegas?
Yeah, there's that one. So here's what I'm doing now. So here's what I believe. I believe that the quality of your life is directly dependent upon the quality of the questions that you ask yourself. Right? So I grew up product of a single family household. My parents got divorced when I was 2. So I grew up with my mom, grew up poorer than poor. I grew up so poor. What we like to say is we played cops and robbers with real cops. So,
look, why you tell jokes? Once I drink water, you tell a joke. Each time I'm like so close to spitting the water out, right? You're going to get me one of these times for sure. So
anyway. For us, so now when I was growing up, the average life expectancy for a black male, you were expected to live between 18 and 24. You were expected to meet your demise by either gang violence or prison or something, right? So most of the people I grew up with, we asked ourselves, how can we get out of our neighborhood? And it wasn't really our neighborhood. We wish we could just take the same people that we grew up with and transplant them to a better place. But we wondered, how can we get out of the situation that we're in? How can we do better in life? So most of us ended up going to college, or some of us became blue collar brothers making a whole lot of money. But we asked ourselves really good questions. How can we avoid this to attain that? And it's no wonder I became an auditor, because all you do is ask questions. So now some of my keynote speeches are surrounding, look, here's how you audit your life. Ask yourself better questions so you can live a better life. And I go through 5 principles of asking yourself better questions in life.
Okay. Can you share them with us?
No, I won't share them. You got to book me if you want to know what they are.
Oh, man. Okay. But you have 5 principles, though, basically.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Okay, 5 principles. So let's talk about keynote, because I know, man, you were talking about speaking engagements like right before this. So you're a motivational speaker also, which is interesting, right? Because I think most people would think, well, if you're that audit guy, it's like, okay, well, he's an audit guy. He's going to talk about audits, right? But the way that you talk, I guess your messages are very inspirational or motivational kind of energy, right? And people like you to come to talk as like a motivational speaker, right? Is that right?
Yeah, but here's the thing. So you got to think about it like this. When you think, okay, the last thing anybody would ever want to do in life is go through an audit, right?
I know that's right.
Right. So in order for me to have a successful career doing that, I must be doing something different. Like I have clients that I had in the past that still call me, text me, email me to this day. So if you can get people to know, like, and trust you doing something like that, then it must be worth spreading.
Right.
That's the way I look at it.
Know, like, and trust you. That's a good point. So
about it,
you are a very
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you are a very likable person, right? So I mean, I think that's definitely one of the reasons why you and I connect. So, you know, I mean, we met in Shanae's group, but very quickly I'm like, okay, this dude is real cool. Like, you seem very likable and trustworthy.
Like, this
so
dude
it's
is
like,
crazy.
you know, we vibe, huh?
I said, you were like, this dude is crazy.
Well, that too, right? But I can see why you would be very successful in your career, and even the way that you've answered certain questions today, I'm like, you know, that makes sense that you would answer. A lot of people answer emotionally and they don't answer accurately. Like you listen to the questions and you answer accurately. So even like you said, with regards to that doctor, you're like, well, quite honestly, you know, I don't know if she's innocent or not. I haven't seen it. I can't speak on that. Like, you know what? That makes sense, especially coming from someone that does audits. So I really would expect no less of you, right? So I can see why you would be successful. And you've got a great personality. You're charismatic. You're highly intelligent, right? A great communicator. So it makes sense to me that, yeah, you would do well. And you're ambitious, though, right?
Just a little bit. Just a little ambitious.
Just a little bit. Okay. So is there anything that you wanted to talk about? We're gonna keep it kind of short today, because like I said, like we said, like me and you are kind of winging it, right?
Hey, man.
It just shifted, right? So I didn't want to cancel the show. I'm like, no, we're not gonna do that, right? So
yeah, man. You know, look, I came here expected to talk about the situation that had occurred with the young lady, but I'm more than happy to sit on here and just chop it up a little bit about anything. I don't know if you got any people listening who just want to ask us anything. I mean, you can ask me how's the weather where I am compared to Hawaii, and why would I rather be in Hawaii right now than where I am, and when Mike is going to fly me out to Hawaii. I mean, we can talk.
Where are you? Where in the world are you?
We can talk about that. You know what? Right now, I'm actually in Alabama, so Hawaii looks really good.
I bet. So is that where you grew up in Alabama, or because you mentioned?
It is where I grew up, but I left a long time ago. I left and stayed gone. I spent about 20 or so odd years living in Jacksonville, Florida, really close to the beach. So most weekends you could find me at the beach just relaxing.
I love Florida. I was stationed out there with the Navy. Like when I first joined the Navy, boot camp was in Orlando. It was open at the time. And then I went to Naval Nuclear Power School also in Orlando, right? So I loved Florida. Love it. I got a sister that's about to move out there, matter of fact.
Florida's real nice. It's just really humid though. You walk outside and your sweat starts to sweat.
Yeah. Oh, you know, it's crazy in Orlando. Now, I don't know if it's like this in the rest of Florida, but I know in Orlando, Florida specifically, they used to tell us that it was the lightning storm capital of the world. So literally you'd be marching around the base with like your flagpole, and then the alarm would sound, you know, everyone knew that was the lightning storm alarm. And you just have to drop your flag and you just have to run. Well, it wasn't the American flag. It's what we call a guidon, right? It showed like what company you're with. Mine was C198. You just drop your flag because it's metal, right? And you just run to the nearest building, and the lightning like bow, 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 it just strikes, right? Is it like that where you were in Florida too?
Man, it's like that everywhere in Florida. So look, during the spring and summer, it rains almost every afternoon at 3:33 to be exact. No, I'm just but in all seriousness, you get whether it's Miami, Orlando, Jacksonville, Tampa, you get a lot of afternoon showers, and then so it'll rain and it'll pour down real hard, and then it'll go away and the sun will come back out and business as usual.
Yeah, you know what I also found in Orlando was that like in the morning it would be very cold, so we would wear our navy pea coats in the morning. Like 5, 6 in the morning, it'll be that cold. But of course, by lunchtime, I mean, it's super hot. So, you know, I just
so I tell you, here's what we call those. We call those wrap and peel days, right? Because in the morning, you're wrapped up like a burrito, and by the afternoon, you just peel it off.
I never
wrap and peel days, man. That's pretty normal. Yeah.
Wow. And what's Alabama like? Because I've never had a reason to go to Alabama. So what is Alabama like?
It's hot and humid like Florida, but I was about to say something. I won't say that part. It's hot and humid like Florida, but there are a few beaches, but not as many beaches as Florida.
Man, I'm good at a lot of subjects. Geography, I'm not good at. I didn't even know there were beaches in Alabama.
Yeah, man, it's right next to Florida.
Huh.
The Florida Panhandle.
I'm gonna have to look that up. My ignorance. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Nice white sandy beaches.
In Alabama?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I guess, you know, when I think of Alabama, I always think of the civil rights struggle, you know, Dr. King and
that.
All that stuff. So I've never heard once of a beach in Alabama.
Yeah, man. Pull out your map, man. Don't pull out your map. Go to Google. You don't still have a map, do you? You still got a Rand McNally.
Maybe somewhere in this big old house of mine, maybe in one of these rooms, there's an old map book, probably still. Hawaii map.
Yeah. Move all the maps out of the room and make room for me.
Hey, I'm dead serious, man. When you do get ready to come out here, let me know. You can stay. Now, some people, they would rather stay in a hotel, you know what I mean? You know, but if you're not that person, you don't mind, like, hey, come stay with me. I'm easy to get along. You just got to make breakfast. I mean, you from the South, so I imagine you could probably make some real good breakfast.
Man, don't you know? But see, it's not good for you now because you're on this big health routine, man. I've seen the guns. I have seen the guns.
The guns, yeah, I'm working on it. Thank you. I'm working on it.
That's
right. You're gonna be you're in the program this time around, so you're gonna be flexing them guns too.
Look, man, I need to pick up some weight. That's what I need to do. What you got for that? What you got for people who need to put on pack on a few lbs?
You know what, my ex-wife, who is also a very good friend of mine still, and my business partner, right? So she's an actress, right? So I remember her telling me like several times when we was married, like, Mike, you know, actors, like you have your routine as a bodybuilder. She's like, but that's not how actors do it. So, you know, if you got like a month before you're going on, you know, and you got to look ripped, you know, there's a certain technique that they do, right? To be basically ripped in like a month.
That's the technique I need.
Huh?
That's the technique I need. Give me the ripped in a month technique.
I got
new workout plan by Michael M. Dillard. Ripped in a month.
I got that. As a matter of fact, that's actually the last part of the program. It's a 90-day plan, right? So in the last 30 days, that's where I actually teach you those. So it's like, for everyone else, they're learning how to like, shed excess body weight, how to eat properly and whatnot, so they learn how to turn it on, turn it off, so they can eat lean and clean. Once they strip it off, it's like, boom, now let's put that muscle on, right? And they
wait a minute now. Why are you waiting to the last 90 days to give me that? Give me that in the first 30. Ripped in 30 days. Then I'll be done. I'll quit the 90-day plan after 30.
You're a friend, so I'll give you some special information along the way, right? But you're gonna want this nutritional information too. That's another thing, right? A lot of people that bodybuild or work out so hard, and then they're like, man, why am I not getting the gains that I thought I would? Because your nutrition still sucks. I mean, from a bodybuilding point of view, your nutrition sucks. Right? Yeah. You may be eating relatively healthy, but there's certain things that you should not be eating, and it's actually hindering your gains, right? So I'm gonna teach you all of that stuff. You're gonna be ripped and shredded. Y'all hear this, right? So Rob Berry is gonna be ripped and shredded. Ripped and shredded. So we're expecting pictures of the guns, right? We want the gun show, Rob.
Yeah, man, because right now I'm working with a 1-pack. Let's get this 1-pack going on here.
Dude, you're hilarious. All right, so let's check this out. Where can people find you if they want to connect with you? We're gonna wrap this up. Where can they find you, Rob?
Find me on LinkedIn. That's my favorite spot. If you need a good keynote speaker or a trainer, I'm a corporate trainer, so you need a good trainer, go to That Audit Guy, because I'm the one. I'm thatauditguy.com. But really, find me on LinkedIn. I'm there hanging around.
Okay, and so on LinkedIn, what's your LinkedIn handle?
Man, that's a good question. That's a real good question. It's the LinkedIn.com, and then what is it? The /N and then /Barry Robert. It's my name backwards, so it's Barry and then Robert.
Oh, is it? So if they just type in Barry Robert. Hold on. I want to make sure we get this right. Give me a second. I'm just pulling up my phone, y'all. Give me a second. I'm gonna put in LinkedIn Robert Berry and see what comes up. Let me see.
If you do Robert Berry, it's not gonna pull me up. Apparently, there are a lot of people with that name. Back in the day, it must have been a popular name.
Huh. That is All right. So, like you said, type in Barry. Is it Barry.Robert or just Barry Robert?
Just Barry Robert. And there I am somewhere.
Yeah, for whatever reason, yeah. When I typed in Robert Berry, like my screen just froze. I'm like, and now it just turned all white. I'm like, what is that? What's going on? But you did say it ain't gonna show up. So anyway, all right, let's hide that and let's pull this up right quick so they can see that. LinkedIn Barry Robert, right? Right, corporate trainer, keynote speaker, author, and that audit guy. And soon to be ripped and shredded with a 6-pack. You have to change your tag. You're gonna be that ripped guy, that 6-pack guy.
Oh man, look here. Don't make me any promises I can't keep.
Coming soon. I'm telling you, you're gonna be amazed. We're all gonna be amazed.
Right. You'll be like, who? Wait, what?
Rob is freaking ripped, right? That's what's up. Okay, so
wait a minute. How do you know I'm not ripped now up under this, man? Under this shirt. How do you?
I'm not going to answer that. How would an auditor answer that question? I'm very tactful. I'm not that tactful yet. So, all right, listen, man. I appreciate you coming on my show, man. I'm gonna try and get you back on, and even if it's not to be on, when that sister's back on, but I would love to have you back on the show again. So, yeah, man, that's pretty much it. Anything else you want to say before one last please share it, because you haven't shared a strategy, right? Because I didn't use the normal format. What is one tip, one nugget of wisdom that you could share with people out there, and whatever you want to share with them?
Ooh.
Job related, mindset, whatever.
You know what? Okay, I got one for you. So, right. Look, when you are dealing with people, learn to ask questions, not question people. There's a difference. One is accusatory, whereas one makes you inquire.
I did see you post that recently. Did you say your grandmama taught you that?
Oh man, yeah. So what I did was I posted this story where I was I was a kid, and during the summers I would go down to my grandparents' house during the day when my mom was at work. And so I would spend time with my dad's parents. And I remember I was outside playing one time, and I was playing with my action figure, my Spider-Man action figure, and that darn thing came up missing. I remember I bust into the house and my uncle was there, and I said, "What did you do with my Spider-Man?" So right, I'm questioning him. He didn't have it, right? And he ignored me when I said that. So I asked him again, "What did you do with my Spider-Man?" He just looked at me and laughed like, if this little boy doesn't get out of my face. So so then at some point, see, my uncle, he's a little crazy. So at some point I saw the look on his face and I said, "Ooh, I better change my tactics." So I said, "Hey, I can't find my Spider-Man. Can you help me find him? And do you know where he is?" So there's a difference between questioning people and asking questions. Oftentimes what we do is we question people when we put them on the defensive. And then we get mad when we don't get the answer to the question that we were asking. But it's because we asked it wrong.
That's powerful. That's powerful. Learn to ask questions, not question. I never looked at it like that.
There's a difference.
That's powerful. Okay. I'm gonna use that. I'm not gonna bite that phrase, but I'm definitely gonna incorporate that into my life. That's powerful. Okay. And that brings us to a close, right? Because that's mindset. That's a whole different mindset shift right there. You know, the whole thing with M3 is mindset matters most. So that's what the M3 is, an M3 power collapse, right? So it's all about changing your mind. And on the close, you change your mindset, you change your money, right? You change your mindset, change your money, change your mindset, you change your money. Aloha until next time. We'll see you next week. And who's our guest next week? I don't know. I actually have somebody scheduled, but he told me yesterday he went on vacation. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to have somebody next week for you. It's going to be interesting, though. All right, brother. Man, we're going to get up, okay? We'll be in touch.
All right.
Don't hang up yet because I want to talk to you after the end of the stream. Okay. Aloha.